So really quickly, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to give my thoughts on the entire Jayden Daniels injury situation that happened last night during the Seahawks blowout win 38-14 win over the Washington Commanders. And of course, it was really, not really about the game itself. I mean, yeah, Seattle absolutely dominated just right from the beginning. I mean, heck, they were up like 28 to like nothing to like around, like, I think it was like around like 4 or 5 minutes left in the second quarter. So realistically, Washington really had like no chance of coming back. I mean, it was like 38 to like 7 by the time unfortunately when the Jayden Daniels injury situation happened. And here's just my thoughts on the entire situation that occurred that led up to, unfortunately, Jayden Daniels injuring his I believe it was his left elbow. At first I didn't even know what the injury was. Like I was just hearing the announcers just talk about Washington's quarterback being down, and I was just in utter shock. I totally thought, like, I saw like his hand like around his knee, and at first I was like, oh shoot, is this gonna be like a knee issue? Is this going to be potentially like an ACL injury? But no, it actually turned out to be his left elbow that unfortunately just went into complete opposite direction of where the elbow should not even be able to move to the other side. And it was just a very scary looking injury. And I just want to say, I don't understand why Jayden was even in the game still, even though the game was like 38-7. Like, I get it, like, you're trying to like maybe make the game somewhat relatively closer than what the scoreboard is saying, but like a couple of like drives ago, like Washington like punted on a 4th down where you think, oh, they probably should just go for it and maybe just at least try to get something going. But no, they actually decided to punt, and then Washington's defense got stopped, and then they get the ball back, and then now Washington's in the red zone. And honestly, at that point, when Washington should probably just put their stars in, they probably should just say, hey, you know what, we're gonna have no chance of coming back in this game. We probably just need to go ahead and just rest our starters and get ready for next week's big game against the Detroit Lions. But unfortunately, the worst happened. Jayden Daniels obviously is coming off of a little bit of a worrisome season so far, because Washington throughout this entire season has dealt with so many injuries. I mean, it's just been not a very good season for Washington. Dan Quinn should obviously be big time responsible for Jayden Daniels being injured, because that's the guy. The coach is responsible for having the players even play in the game when the game's not even like close, dude. Like, if Washington was to score a touchdown, which I mean they did, but it just didn't even matter, like, because everything was focused on Jayden Daniels. And I just want to say I'm so sorry for Jayden Daniels that happened to him, because it was really skeptical that he was even playing in the first place, because he was coming off of a hamstring injury against the Cowboys. I think it was like 2 weeks ago. He suffered a right hamstring injury. And it didn't really look good. He was grimacing in pain. Obviously, if you guys did see the injury, he was grimacing in pain a lot during that Cowboys game. And then obviously he missed last week's game against the Chiefs. And they actually did play pretty solid, first half wise. I mean, they definitely had a lot of chances to maybe make it a game, but unfortunately the Chiefs are just a better team. So they probably could have definitely used Jayden Daniels. But at this point, I think if you're Jayden Daniels and you're the Washington Commanders, I would say this is just going to have to unfortunately be a lost season, because I really do think Washington is just not in a really good state right now. It really just sucks, because we all had a lot of expectations going into this season for the Washington Commanders. I mean, heck, they were coming off of an NFC Championship game appearance, against the Philadelphia Eagles, and obviously Jayden Daniels' rookie season, like, you don't really see a lot of rookie quarterbacks have that like automatic success with a franchise that has just been absolutely looking for anything of a spark. Obviously, back in the past, I don't really want to bring this up, but like Robert Griffin III, he's kind of reminded me, Jayden Daniels. Well, actually, I take it back, reversed it. Jayden Daniels has kind of reminded me of a little bit of RG3 vibes, and I really just hope that Jayden Daniels just doesn't fall on the ropes of what RG3 went through, because I think it was like his second or third year where RG3 literally led Washington to the playoffs, and then he was getting beat down every single game, it seemed like, because like his whole line just sucked. And unfortunately, Robert Griffin III unfortunately retired early than expected, because injuries just caused him to unfortunately make him retire early. And it just sucks seeing players that are so talentedly gifted and who are very good being running QBs. And that's what I think really worries me when it comes to running quarterbacks is, yeah, they're really awesome to watch, obviously, when they're able to still make throws on the run and obviously run for first downs and potentially touchdowns. But they obviously have the, the high risk of potentially getting hurt more often because they're taking hits. They're not sliding like they probably should be. And unfortunately, Jayden Daniels throughout the game, dude, like he had no offensive line. Like, again, give credit to Seattle. I mean, I've always been saying like Seattle Seahawks have been a very underrated team going into this year, and I've been right so far. So I definitely think Seattle definitely deserves the recognition of being a legit contender. I'm not saying Super Bowl contender, but I'm saying like a contender to potentially win the NFC West and all that. But going back to the fact of Jayden Daniels, I think, in my opinion, I think Washington does need to shut him down for the rest of the year. Now, obviously, if they were to somehow like win like 5 or 6 games without Jayden Daniels, and then maybe it's like the last like week or two where Washington has a chance to make playoffs, then at that point, it's kind of up to the coach and obviously, for our office to be like, hey, do we really want to start Jayden Daniels? I mean, he suffered an absolutely gruesome left elbow injury that, again, like, I'm not really even gonna like show you guys the footage of it because it's just disgusting. I didn't even like know what happened to him, so I literally looked back at it, dude. I'm like, oh my gosh, like that really just happened, and it was very, very unfortunate timing. So this is just my thoughts. I think Dan Quinn should obviously be more responsible. I think he should have pulled the starters before the fourth quarter and, just put the backups in because there was no chance they were going to come back and win the game against the Seahawks. And first up for Jayden Daniels, I just really hope everything for the best for him because he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now. And I think if it was up to me, I would shut him down for the rest of the year just so that, you could go into next year and hopefully he can be 100% recovery. And obviously, you saw the emotions from all the players around him, like he's obviously their leader. I mean, he's only his second year and he's obviously, what Washington obviously wanted from a quarterback for so long. Again, prayers for Jayden Daniels. I really hope, he can get 100% healthy, and it's just been that type of year for Washington Commanders. injuries have absolutely derailed them this year, and honestly, even when they were kind of healthy, it really just hasn't been that good of a season. So prayers for Jayden Daniels. These are my thoughts on it. Let me guys know in the comment section down below what you guys think about this, and I'll see you guys in the next video.